Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, a great fight between Joshua Buatsi and Craig Richards. Buatsi winning it by a 12-round unanimous decision. Now, this fight was very competitive. Had some really good exchanges. There were momentum switches as the fight was playing out, and yeah, it was just a really hard fought fight from both men. Both guys put on a really good show, in my opinion, and of course this fight was a WBA title eliminator, so there's that as well. So there was a lot on the line here, and both guys showed up, both guys showed out, and they delivered a great fight, so credit to Joshua Buatsi and Craig Richards for delivering. Now, early on in this fight in round one, I felt Craig Richards was looking pretty good behind that jab. He was trying to keep distance against Joshua Buatsi. Buatsi was coming forwards in almost like a crouch, and he was firing his jab from low upwards kind of thing. And he was catching Craig Richards with that jab, but I felt Richards was managing the distance better in round one. However, towards the end of round one, Buatsi catches Richards with an overhand right, which momentarily buzzes Richards. Not seriously hurt, but he kind of gets knocked off balance. Buatsi jumps on him, lands a series of shots, and I felt that was enough to win Buatsi the round. It was a close round, which I felt Richards was winning, but then Buatsi kind of fired back and done his own work. So round one I gave to Buatsi, to be honest. Round two, I felt Richards kind of got back on that jab. Again, managing the distance. He was finding a looping right hand that was going around the side of Joshua Buatsi's gloves. One thing about Buatsi is when he's on the outside, he comes in very square. He kind of stands square. So he's a sucker for straight punches and also punches around the guard. And Richards was having success at exploiting that in round two. The jab was landing, the looping right hand around the guard was landing. That sort of thing, and even the straight right hand as well, splitting the guard. Buatsi himself was having his own success, don't get me wrong. Very competitive round, could have gone either way. Buatsi's pressure, Buatsi's inside work, etc. But I just preferred Richards' work in round two. I felt rounds 3 and 4, Buatsi came back on top. Once again, Richards was giving Buatsi issues on the outside, but Buatsi on the inside did a really good job of utilising his free hand. Punching with his free hand, whereas Richards was kind of neutralised on the inside. One thing Buatsi does very well, he pivots on the inside, gets an angle, and utilises that free hand so well. And he was doing some good inside work against Craig Richards in rounds 3 and 4. And quite frankly, he was doing it throughout the fight. Joshua Buatsi's inside game for a British fighter is really advanced. That's one thing British fighters tend to lack on, is the inside game. But Buatsi's is pretty good. Defensively, Buatsi can improve on the inside, no doubt about it. But offensively, Buatsi's quite effective up close. And he was very effective against Richards in this fight on the inside. In fact, I was kind of thinking to myself, Buatsi would be better suited to just completely keep this fight up close, collapse the pocket, and stay on Craig Richards' chest. Richards was landing shots on the inside, some like short uppercuts, that sort of thing. But they wasn't having the same impact that his shots from the outside were having. So I felt Buatsi was safer on the inside. Not only was he getting more work off, but Richards' shots weren't as effective. And yeah, the fight was kind of ebb and flows, but it was a weird fight because Richards never got outclassed in any round. He never got dominated in any round. But I would have said maybe 8 out of the 4 rounds, he just got outworked. He just got outworked by Buatsi. Round 8 in particular was a really good round. Buatsi started this round really strongly, by the way. Getting back on that jab, coming forwards, rocking the head back of Craig Richards. He stunned Richards with a overhand right in round 8. But then both guys started to exchange, and Richards catches Buatsi with some good shots. And Buatsi looked a little buzzed in round 8 as well. But a great exchange in round 8. Both guys hurt for my money. It was a really good round. Round 9, once again, really competitive round. I felt Richards had good success in round 9, actually. Once again, mixing up that 1-2. And Richards was actually having some success to the body late on. Looking back in hindsight, maybe Richards should have tried that body attack much earlier, because Buatsi was definitely tiring as this fight was playing out. Not that he was gassing, but if Richards was consistent to the body early on, I mean, who knows what could have happened. But yeah, Richards' body work started to get a bit more, he was throwing more body shots towards the end of this fight. And honestly, this fight basically it finished how it started, which was very competitive, but I always felt Buatsi was a step ahead. To me, Buatsi was the guy who was, I would say, landing the more hurtful shots, maybe the more eye-catching shots, but he was certainly landing more shots, in my opinion. And yeah, I just felt that Buatsi outworked Craig Richards for the majority of rounds. I would say maybe 8-4 for Joshua Buatsi is about right, that sort of score. So it was very competitive, it was very keenly fought, but Buatsi was the rightful winner as far as I'm concerned. I've got to give credit to Craig Richards. Very often when you see a hot prospect like Joshua Buatsi, when they're fighting this sort of fight, sometimes the opponent will lie down and come for a paycheck, but Craig Richards fought this fight with great intent, great ambition, and he came to win. I was saying this on the BDA Discord. Craig Richards is never going to be a world champion, but he's one of those guys who, if you're not good enough, he will expose you or make you look bad or give you a competitive fight. He's one of those sort of guys, man. Credit to the sport, he's done it the hard way. No real amateur background, came up on small hall shows. So credit to Craig Richards, man. He's a real kind of tough dude, man. So big up to him. Buatsi in this fight, I felt he showed some really impressive attributes. I think Buatsi's inside game, like I was mentioning early on, is quite impressive. I like the use of his free hand, really good. His angles on the inside, his pivoting to get the angles is really impressive. Buatsi's jab is excellent when he sticks to it. I love that power jab from Buatsi, really good stuff. And Buatsi has a nice repertoire of punches all around, to be honest. He's got some good skills there. But Buatsi, there was a few signs in this fight where he got frustrated, where he was kind of complaining to the referee, that sort of thing. And, he was a little flustered at times, which going forwards, you do wonder about that. But mainly with Buatsi, I think it's defensively where I would worry if I'm training Buatsi or if I'm his promoter. I would worry about his defense, particularly when he's sitting on the outside. He's very square on. His guard is very porous. It can be punched through. We saw that against Kalic. We saw that against Craig Richards. Against a guy like Bivol, that will be a nightmare. And yeah, it's mainly defensively for Joshua Buatsi. When he's on the inside, he's very effective. It's his entry route to the inside which gets him tagged up. And as you step up in the levels, certain guys can take advantage of that. Defensively, Joshua Buatsi needs a lot of work. But this was the sort of fight he needed. 12 hard rounds against a guy with ambition who's coming to win. So Buatsi needs to learn from this. He's certainly got talent, he's certainly got ability, but as far as I'm concerned, he's got a lot of work to do right now. Eddie Hearn's talking about a world title shot next. If Bivol doesn't fight Canelo, maybe Bivol versus Buatsi. Quite frankly, based on what I saw against Craig Richards, I think that fight is too soon for Joshua Buatsi. I would give Joshua Buatsi 1 or 2 more fights. I don't think he's ready for that fight. Not the Buatsi I saw against Craig Richards. I think he gets picked off, quite frankly. And against a guy like Beterbiev, more than likely he gets knocked out. So yeah, and that's not to denigrate Buatsi. Again, I think he's got talent. I think he's got skill. And I think he can get better. But I think he needs a couple more hard fights before he fights for a world title. That's just my opinion. But we shall see. He's certainly exciting, I'll say that much. And as for Craig Richards, I mean, he can come again at domestic level, maybe even European level. I'll be more than willing to watch Craig Richards again. Guys, a credit to the sport. But what about you guys? What did you make of this fight? I really enjoyed it. I felt it was a really good fight. So credit to both men. Buatsi wins by UD. And yeah, really good fight, man.